Actually, I'm
first
going to
marriages?
correct you straight away. It's over 50.
Really?
Guess what's the 50% of that as a reason?
A lack of commitment?
Infidelity. Imagine the most courageous version of self. What would the most courageous version of yourself do in any situation? And you're going to see they will eliminate fear of rejection. They would eliminate a lot of things and would say, you know what? I would stand up. I would speak my mind. I would be who I am. But I would speak the truth.
Now, to her, even following or liking a photo of another girl could be classified as infidelity. So should we give it a definition or should it be subjective?
Most people say betrayal, right? But I would say for me, better word is transgression. Okay, you cross some. So when you come into relationship, you actually should agree what kind of relationship you two want to have. Don't pull them into something that you're not planning to honor. I have no problem you liking. I just don't like when it.
The Infinite Perspective Podcast.
At the moment, almost 30 to 40% of marriages in the United States end up in divorce.
Actually, I'm
First
going to
marriages.
correct you straight away. It's over 50.
Really?
It's over 50. Guess what's the 50% of that as a reason?
A lack of commitment?
Infidelity.
Yes.
Yes. That's a
Really?
reason for divorce. Stated in the, so 50% of divorce, the reason why they go to the court is infidelity. So obviously it's a universal problem.
And I want to get more into that later in the podcast. But right in the beginning, I just want to ask you, when I was young, a kid, I used to watch these romantic movies and see relationships. And I was like, what are these adults so worried about? Why is it so complicated? It seems very simple. But then I grew up and I understood it's much easier to understand quantum mechanics personally for me than to understand relationships. So now with marriage, because it's an institution essentially, do we even need marriage? Like 50%, that's a huge number, you know? It's like you're flipping a coin. So do you think society's evolving to the point where we essentially, marriages are something that we just come up for no reason and there's no real purpose for them anymore?
Okay, so I'm going to go back. Actually, in the first part, there's a couple of things that you threw there. A complexity of relationship. I actually would like, there's a big generational gap between you and me, honestly. So I would just like to know, you're at the very beginning of your journey where you are still developing yourself. You're still learning what you want, who you want to be. There's a lot of novelty and opportunity. So when you say it's complex and it's difficult, Can I hear a little bit more? What do you mean by that, and why? And quantum physics, because there's interesting comparison there.
Of course, I guess we have a certain we have empathy in our brains, which allows us to kind of, to a certain extent, read people and to feel like we know what they're thinking. So I want to give you this tower analogy. What I think is what happens a lot these days, and I've seen personally in my circle, is imagine a relationship like a tower. It's like a skyscraper that you're building. The bricks, the steel, it's being reinforced, and you can see in front of your eyes that it's something very strong. You're investing time into it, money, energy, emotions, all of that. But then a tiny little mouse enters into the tower and it all comes crumbling down. And what I'm trying to symbolize by the tiny little mouse is usually something really small that you should not really break up over. And what is mind-boggling to me is the sense that we get that we can read people. We get this feeling that, okay, this person is going to stay with me. Nothing really bad is going to happen. But that fails, and then we start questioning our own social identity, our emotional intelligence, and all of that. And that's where the complexity comes in.
So I think I'll start from the very end where you said I start hopefully not questioning but wondering about your emotions. And how what kind of skills you have for maintaining the relationship. But that analogy of the tower, you see, if you're not building together where you both agree what's a steel and what's a brick and how the tower should look, then you're assuming a lot. And I would say assumptions are literally death of every relationship. And I find that at the very beginning when you're young, first of all, you're just developing really what I want, how I want it. You have the relationship you are going to, a lot of them are learning curve and they play a role really in your self-discovery. Not in a selfish way, but you have opportunity to really explore what is still there for me and how I want to express it. But I think it's fine. How do you really create a greed build for that tower? So when you say a mouse, I would not say a mouse. Nothing that is that strong would fall. So it seems like you had probably certain things that were unspoken and kind of mind reading. There's a lot of mind reading I find that people do, and that's just that assumption that we share values, that we understand how this should look and what is the long-term relationship and what commitment is and all of this. So I think there's the most of the time the relationship failed because there was the conversations, authentic conversations did not happen from the very beginning, or you are not coming in authentically in hope to keep this person close to you, in hope not to, and there is a fear not to lose them, right? So I think when you say, especially as a young person, I'm not sure if today's culture, there's really that, I want to very early on find a long-term relationship. I find that actually what you just said more rare than common. But it's common for all the relationships that fall apart that there was something that was unspoken.
Absolutely.
And some authenticity on both parties was missing. And then when things blew up, that was probably building up over time. So the person uses opportunity just to add another evidence that you didn't do something that they were hoping you understood by now or paid attention to. But think about it. Everything I say, should, they hope, that was not spoken because you were guessing. You were guessing that's what it needs for my relationship. That's what I need to have this strong. So as a young person, I think most of us are, and I remember this is not even discussed most of the time with us. Our parents don't, at least from my generation, I don't know if your parents discuss this with you. What does it mean to become a good partner? Really, what kind of partner would you like to be? How do you know you're that kind of partner? How do you ask for certain things? How do you create the boundaries? How do you agree on a relationship you're going to have? And we're going to actually discuss what infidelity is in those terms as well.
Absolutely.
So all of this, what kind of emotional maturity you're bringing in? How much time did you have to, develop emotional maturity? Your introspection. How much are you able to understand what's going on? Why certain things bother you? Why you can't really accept certain things? Remember we discussed the conflict, right? For conflict, you have really a lot of emotional maturity. You have to really understand what is going on, and you have to stop moralizing and show curiosity, and then trying to understand both self and the other person. So you're playing really advocate for self, but for the other person, right? Because eventually you want to both preserve dignity and walk out understanding something better about each other and the relationships. And what does it mean to, introduce otherness into our life while preserving self and while preserving, your own identity. So I would say when we are young, there's a lot of this romantic idea that other person should be the one that makes us happy. That is, I think, unfortunate romantic idea. You are responsible for your own satisfaction. I think happiness is a little bit shallow term for me. Satisfaction means a little bit more connection to the values and deeper sense of life and reality. But I think those conversations when you're young, I'm not sure. I mean, they're all ongoing, So your goal is now probably to explore partnerships you want to have and what is out there, what kind of partner you want to have. While in my stage in life, I'm thinking how to preserve stability as it is while really not rotting in the routine and missing all the novelty that you are enjoying right now. And that actually fuels the passion and fuels the intensity of every relationship. So it's a completely different goal for you and me, but I would say the skills are very similar. Communication is at the center. I'm not sure if anyone taught us really. We think because we talk well. I think that's not really true. And when you compare it to quantum physics, it's because you have the recipe there, right? It's really that. In the relationship, we are messy. I mean, honestly, we bring so much messiness. And if you have to really, if you're with the right person, they should allow to show yourself. They should allow actually yourself, they shouldn't ask you to reduce yourself for them to exist or be in the relationship. I think I went a little bit broad, but we can attach themselves from there on to infidelity. I think that was really something you wanted to latch, but yeah.
But I want to zoom in onto the point which you made about the things that are unspoken. It also almost seems like an emotional black hole where it's kind of really hard to find it. How do you figure out those things that are the fragile points in the relationship, or let's say our tower? How do you find them if they're unspoken of?
So early on, I think you should show as you are. I don't think you should do any other things. Well, to be honest, at the very beginning of a relationship, most of the time, we want the other person to like us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. We change a lot for that.
Yes. And I'm not sure why, because they should really fall in love with who you are, not what you should do for them.
Right.
Because the partnership should be really, with the least effort, meaning you should be who you are, and then the other person should be actually curious who you are. They should want to invite you, right?
But I have a question, though. If everyone else in the pool of finding partners is changing themselves and making themselves seem cooler, how am I going to stand out if I don't compete and do what everyone else is doing, which is making themselves cooler but being fake?
Yeah, but you are going to attract, the person will be attracted to something that you are not you. So what's the point? It's going to blow up in your face anytime, eventually you will not be able to sustain this. And to be honest, how will you accept yourself? Right? And and if you're really attempting to constantly make someone else happy, and that's a really shifting goalpost, I can tell you that.
Right.
It's a continuous, as the experiencing and going through your life, this person is evolving, you're evolving, and their really happiness is redefining now. And honestly, the list can really change. So you do one thing, and then now they're more, and then there's never enough, and then actually you forget about yourself, right? And the partnership is really, if you look at it as a student and the teacher, right?
Right.
The life partner is very different than the lover. Okay. When you're young, there's a lot of need for lovers.
Yeah.
But I think life partner is something else. Life partner is someone you actually can stay longer to put a mirror in front of yourself in a safe way. It's actually in a long-term relationship that you can learn about yourself and heal and become the best version of yourself. And it's funny enough when people ask me, what's the best version of yourself? And I ask you, imagine the most courageous version of self. What would the most courageous version of yourself do in any situation? I don't think you're ever confused, funny enough. I keep asking people, be intuitive about it. You're in a situation, I ask you, what would the most courageous version of yourself do? And you're going to see they will eliminate fear of rejection. They will eliminate fear of, following their identity and the value system. They would eliminate a lot of things and would say, you know what? I will stand up. I would speak my mind. I would be who I am. I would be generous and kind. But I would speak the truth. I would not try to hurt them. You would honor the value system. You would try to be the righteous, brave, kind. That's the courageous person yourself. So I say always, you want to find the person for life, you first become a person that deserves that kind of person. So you become that person, and then you're going to attract, trust me, probably someone who speaks your language, because you will not compromise. Why would you compromise on something that every morning feels right, and you lose self-consciousness and you're not confused and you don't need validation? This is why when you're young, that's hard. Popularity matters, acceptance matters, because you still don't have formed identity. So safety is in the group, safety is in a lot of acceptance. And so, but the vulnerability is mostly explored in the intimate relationship. That's where all the mess comes out. This is why it's so interesting,
Absolutely. Now, in a lot of relationships, when the collapse happens, it's usually due to a gap in communication. So for person A and person B, they could be blaming each other. What they're blaming each other for is basically something that they thought was wrong, but it's relative to each of the person's own opinions. So how do you attempt to bridge this gap and kind of find a common ground where you both understand each other's languages and attempt to resolve the conflict?
Okay, so you talk about the long-term relationship, just start, or
This is all long-term relationships.
Okay, all long-term. Well, you're very young to talk about very long. I think we define long-term very differently. I'm married more than now 20 years. So.
Oh wow.
And although that's like some kind of success, I have to say, it's just a fact. But I think in the conflict, and especially if you're defending yourself, you're not listening.
Okay. That's
So you're really
interesting.
not listening, okay?
Right.
Because I'm just asking both of you, what are you trying to achieve? I mean,
Resolution.
like, so you're defending yourself and the other person. And then someone has to stop and say, and actually take a stock of what's happening. I'm defending myself, you're defending yourself. What is the goal of this conversation? You have to start from some agreement.
Yeah.
You have to find agreement back. Even if you agree that you can't find the common ground right now, it's a good place to start, meaning you are now observing from the same place.
Right.
So it is very important in a conflict, and the handbrake in any conflict can be pulled at any time. Trust me on this, I have done it. No matter how much the emotions are high, okay, as long as you didn't call the names and attack the character of the other person, you can put the handbrake and you say, it's not going well. It's really not going well. And I'm not sure where are we going because I can't hear we at any point. I hear I. And we are talking about what? Getting together? Kind of repairing the rupture? Not sure from the position of I, how can we come back to we? So we have to come back to what is the goal of this conversation? Why are we here? Is this the right moment, actually, to have this conversation? You have to stop something. If it's creating more damage, then I'm not sure where this conversation is going. So if you're fighting, someone has to stop and become observational seat and see both of you right now and take a stock of it. Right now, as I see it, and invite them. We are fighting, and I'm sad about it. I can't see where is this going.
Right.
But I do miss you. I would love, no, I really want to, you. Someone has to say, I would love us to succeed. I would love us to be together.
Right.
Can we find a way? Let me just state this. Love is not enough for a relationship to work. Okay?
True.
That's just, I think that's a little bit the Hollywood story. Love is a verb, to be honest, and it's not a hard work. It's a decision of commitment.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't mean compromise. It's a decision of accepting that we will have to invite other people's things that probably annoy us is fine, but we have to accept that we are also the same messy person, and they will allow us space for that too. So when you're in the midst of a huge blow up, I have to remind everyone, words will be remembered.
True. That is so true.
Please stop before you regret certain things. Emotions are high, don't make decisions. Someone has to, at that moment, preserve both of you from where we're going and go back and find a new starting point where you both agree on something and start from there. At the moment, you are just thinking about winning rather than for yourself. And that's not what relationship, at least the good relationship, the difference between relationship that last and relationship that don't last is because they do fight better. They really fix the problems better.
Absolutely.
They keep seeking each other back. They suddenly, in the midst of the conflict, fear of loss. The loss of not that actually battle, but loss of war, loss of us. That's way bigger threat.
Right.
Then at that moment, surrendering and say, can we have a truce? I really want to win for both. That was always the goal. It's hard, honestly. As a young person, it takes, at the very beginning, you're so self-centered. You're just opening to the world. There's so much out there. You're pulled. And I have to remind, we are now marrying on average 10 years later than before.
Yeah.
We are in a hookup culture. You really don't have a space to practice complexity of long-term relationships. True. In a hookup culture, you're really commoditizing love, to be honest.
Absolutely.
It's not even there. There's no love. That's just really entertainment and objectifying. And so I'm not sure where are these skills practiced, because we have we have subjectivized everything, to be honest. What does it mean to be in a relationship? Who can you be, and all of this, and there's no social pressure, at least in the modern world. The religion is gone, so we have given a license to a lot of freedom, but we
Right.
didn't raise our maturity emotional to this freedom,
Absolutely.
where we are tempted all the time, but we also should somehow reject the temptation and be able to handle this and all the choices and all of this. And so I think we are very much in an environment where we are not encouraged to practice the skills that actually maintain the long term. But I would say, regardless, curiosity and understanding before moralizing. Okay, just
Okay.
in any, even when you're young, you can be very much open to understand and say, we will not be together. It's like when you are exiting the job, can I find out what was there to work on? Right? Just come out both with a dignity and have a closure, honestly. And even if they're not doing it, I think you want to be in the morning person that kind of looks in the mirror and said, you know what? I honored the courageous part. And yeah, I honored myself. I know who I am, and I never lose it, no matter what the other person is doing. I know who I am, and I'm going to follow that through it because it's a value system. So I would say in a conflict, when things are not going, I will just really look at what would I do differently, not the other person, because I have a control of who I am and what I want to change. And your change usually changes boundaries for the other person, and they just can't show up the same way. Okay. I can tell you, your change just immediately changes the other person. They just can't come in. You mentioned something about your relationship. You apologize and apologize. I think there's a pattern there, and so why would they change? They clearly are taking for granted something. It's going to happen, and I can pursue, and then they state in themselves, they're not changing. You're constantly adjusting. The question is, how far can you go before pulling the boundaries? So you will blow up at one point saying, I had enough. But you know what? They will say, suddenly, what? But you were building up for so long. You just didn't say it. You were just hoping they will hear you in your silence, in your suffering, in your kindness, in all the things you have done for them. And then you come up, I did so much for you. And look, you're never grateful. And that's already honestly, that's already a bad start, because now they're just going to say, what did you do for me? And it's back and forth.
Well, let me then ask you this very important question. We're in a generation where these relationships are ending up so quickly and it's super volatile. How do you end a relationship properly? Are you supposed to block them? Are you supposed to still stay friends? Are you supposed to still stay in touch? Or to avoid that entire temptation of going back, are you supposed to cut all contact? How do you maturely end a relationship?
So I'll ask you, how would you like someone to break up with you? Because I'm sure you know that.
I guess it really depends. If
what comes first to your mind? You will know this.
Where we are on good terms and there's no necessarily...
Would you like face-to-face?
Preferably, yes, but that no longer happens these days.
Okay, but let's look at it. What would you like?
Yes, that
you would
be
like
most
face-to-face.
preferred, yes.
Okay. What would you like them to express?
The appreciation of the fact that the things that were true in the relationship and how it made them grow as a person, and that perhaps the circumstances were at fault, not us. Possibly. That's what I would like.
Yeah, we are just on a different journeys.
Yeah.
It could be. It really could be. Yeah, we are exploring different things. I'm not ready. See, you know the answer, really. And I would say, not sure why, and it's interesting, we have subjectivized everything, what relationships are and what I want to be and who I want to be, but we're so worried to go against the trend.
Yeah.
I keep saying, if you know who you are and if you know your value system, I really couldn't care less about the trend. I will do the right thing regardless of what really will. I will honor the person in first self. I really will go and say to this person, I will honor the time they've given to me. This didn't work out. Really, it didn't work out. So that's it. We're just going to close this, move on. I wish you all the best. And the intention is not to hurt, not diminish you, not to make you feel small. And no one should walk out feeling without agency and as a victim. I think you met, you exchanged, you learned, it didn't work out. And really the language should be with dignity presented this, honestly. I think they should not be blamed.
Absolutely.
We just didn't match. We were not compatible. And we discovered that through experience. We discovered that in relationship. Because honestly, you come into every relationship with that crystal ball, right? You commit. Hopefully you commit with full, honoring really that, agreement that you created from the beginning. And I keep saying that we're going to come back to infidelity. It's very interesting that there is no official definition on infidelity.
Really?
No.
Well,
No, definitely not today. Definitely not today. Maybe when we were very religiously orientated and spiritually kind of structured, I think yes, but not anymore.
Well, let me tell you something. A lot of the days, what happens in this generation is if a guy and a girl are in a relationship, and a guy follows females on Instagram, it could be related to his work or whatever.
Sure.
The girl has a problem with that, and she wants him to unfollow all the females. Now, to her, even following or liking a photo of another girl could be classified as infidelity. So should we give it a definition, or should it be subjective in your opinion?
So are you asking me what's infidelity?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just say, it's interesting. Most people say betrayal, right? But I would say for me, better word is transgression. Okay, you cross something. So when you come into relationship, you actually should agree what kind of relationship you two want to have. Okay. Is it exclusive? Is it open? Right? You should put something on the table. I keep reminding everyone, you should be authentically saying, this is how a relationship would like. Don't pull them into something that you're not planning to honor from the get-go. If they don't want to go with your understanding of relationship, please honor that. Because they will eventually, you will cross the line of what they expected, right?
Right.
So explain expectations from the beginning. Agree on this. And the betrayal, actually infidelity now, is you crossing the agreed relationship boundaries, okay? You agreed on this, and now you actually disagreed. You crossed it. So for me, infidelity is whatever you guys agreed. Now, interesting what you asked, and this is gender bias, funny enough. Would you like your girlfriend to follow guys and like them and definitely stripping and all of these things that are there?
Right.
Because I have a friend, actually, who have a relationship where that's okay. Would you like your girlfriend to objectify other guys and to say,
no.
Why? Because you just had a problem asking me, should she be having an issue with you looking at the girls' photos and liking them? But she just liked other guys' photos, and that's plenty of that. I mean, you should ask me about the general principle rather than gender principle. But you see, there's interesting gender principle here.
Yeah, I guess, okay, so if it has something to do with work, or if it's something not really, driven by lust, then that's absolutely no problem. But
there's plenty of attractive people. I mean, I can't deny that. There's plenty. That's okay. That's reality. I mean, and to be honest, neither your girlfriend has probably seen more attractive than you, and you have seen more attractive. But I hope we are not choosing partners based on look. That's not going to sustain us far, because everyone is replaceable based on that criteria. But that's fair to ask. What do you think? And this is really, early on, you should ask what's infidelity. Really, you should have this in conversation. But let me just say, this in principle sounds great. Very few people will go into that. It's like a minefield. You don't know what you're going to step on, right?
Right.
So I say, do something that is being even used in drama play and all that. Project on others. Watch series.
Okay.
Watch movies. Invite observational seat by watching not each other, but watching a story being told, or talk about other couples, or talk about something. Hear them out. Trust me, they will share their opinion.
Interesting.
They will very quickly. How quickly they moralize something. I kiss someone. Emotional connection. I'm chatting with someone. I never kissed them. I'm emotionally chatting. I'm in a chat room with them. Is that infidelity? Today, this is very interesting. I'm scrolling. But the question for me is when you remove morality, and this is very important, because when people say this is wrong, and I want you to follow, this is wrong, this is right, you actually eliminated the whole honest conversation. to understand what are they seeking there. What are you looking? What are you liking? No, really, what are you liking over there? Is it old habit? Are you hoping to have someone on the bench? If this doesn't work out, I want to keep my things open. I think we should be a little bit fair. I mean, why are you liking photos anyway? I mean, there is a reward there, no? I can watch the photo. I don't have to react to it.
Yeah.
Why are you
Makes
choosing?
sense.
You're not liking all of it. You're liking some. Let's not be naive here.
Yeah.
I think that naiveness is like, but that doesn't have to be bad in any way. But I think you should be saying to yourself, let's not be naive, right? The world is full of temptation, right? And I can't make you blind or close your heart. How do we keep ourselves, how do we hold the tower? How do we hold ourselves together in the world as it is, in the reality as it is? So that is actually work you should be putting on from the get-go. Some of these conversations should be nicely injected from the early, because what you're showing is attitude that you want to safeguard from self, you want to safeguard the relationship, and that's very attractive, that how committed you want to be.
Right.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So I have no problem you liking, I just don't like when it's secret.
Okay, interesting.
So when something is a secret, that means there is a thought that you can't share. Now, privacy is one thing. Privacy is really having opportunity to have your own space. But if I ask you, you say, oh, sure, no problem. I can invite you anytime.
Right.
But I'm just giving you space to feel something that is just kind of creating a sense of self. But secrecy is something else. It involves some guilt, a shame, possible threat, you're avoiding. So that's something else. But yeah. So I would say I don't have at all the role here. I think you two should really be open about it. And the question is, can you safely discuss this? And if you can't, you're missing certain skills already.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Now, moving on.
Not that it's easy, huh?
Moving on to the fact that you said early on in your life, finding a partner that requires different skills, and then on the long term, sustaining it is a different thing. I do want to ask you then, why do some happy people still cheat in relationships? Okay.
Interesting enough, this question has been asked a lot of time. And so happily married people, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, happily married.
Happily married. And most of the time, you find this in a longer term relationship. And I don't mean 2 months, 3 months, 1 year. I mean really people who have been for a longer time. There's usually kids. They have shared a lot of ups and downs. There's already certain routine settled in.
Right.
And the question of what happens in that cheating is most of the time they're not cheating the person. Okay. Believe it or not. They want to cheat on who they have become, and they want to really they want to separate from, they were looking for something else. They either don't like, and when you say happy, what does happy mean? Happily married, right? From outside, right? So clearly this is from outside.
Yeah.
There is some we checked the boxes and we said, well, they are happily married. I'm not sure what that means. What, they never fight, they're intimate all the time, the sex is great, they have a novelty, they date, they preserved all of those things they had at the beginning. Right. Kids are killing all the things. I don't know. I actually don't know. So whatever we're looking outside, and funny enough, this can happen anytime. Okay. And cheating could be, is it the first time really that just happened, or after long-term commitment and really always being with the same person in a way that showed respect and care and love and support, and being, someone who protects the house. Or someone who was, philanderer and just really had a pattern from before when you met them. There's a totally different thing. That one is narcissistic and the other one just really got surprised by maybe forgotten part on themselves.
Right.
And suddenly some part of themselves got awakened, something they missed. A life came back. A really life source came back. And very often, I can tell you this is research being shown. Okay, so the people regret cheating in terms of hurting the other person.
Okay.
But they don't regret the experience quite often. And I tell you something, what they don't regret. They often say, I felt alive.
Yeah.
I felt energized. Okay? So what that means is what kind of relationship I was, that was gone. Why I couldn't have it in my relationship. What was happening in my day-to-day life? And that's very often when the both partners become very functional in their roles. So very dutiful, right? Because I have to remind everyone, at the very beginning, you've put so much effort, right? You don't own the person. You're not secure if you're going to ever have them. There's so much tension, and from sexual tension to unknown. You're dating, you're planning, everything is like really, you're just not only impressing, you want to make them feel special. You want to show them, I see you, I hear you, I don't take you for granted. I will cherish you. You know, you're almost like a wedding vows, a practice from the get-go. But down the line, a lot of these things really we forget, we take for granted. Yeah. And, you know, there are a lot of things we just don't talk about it. Right. And then the marriage is, when I say hard, I always want to know, what kind of marriage model are you practicing? Who told you that's the only marriage model you can have? So I think as a marriage as we define today, with the freedom of choice that we have today, if you find and sustain this marriage model, really, where the person is a friend and someone who helps you, remember that student and the teacher, finds your best version of self and help you grow and find your aspirations and give you freedom and safety, right? And the kind of the things that they are not, your resources are way better used, right? In a positive way. Now that's a marriage that honestly is so worth it. You will not find it. That kind of reward is really amazing. Only in committed relationship, you can heal. You can discover yourself, because you will go through so many challenges. And at the very beginning, you will experience will really only through experience you will have to be able to practice certain skills, right? And someone has to be there with you.
Absolutely.
Someone has to be there with you, where your vulnerability will be fully allowed. So you can actually see yourself and accept yourself and again have a starting point from where you want to work on yourself. Together with that person, right? Or they buy you time, or they protect you while you're really down, or all of these things. So and honestly, I kind of went away from the initial question, but the whole point of committed relationship is when we start well, and we show attitude of commitment rather than self, things will work out. I think marriage as today institution has never been more free. But we have never lived in a society that has loosened up every consequences of stepping out and literally not honoring agreement. And so there is no, I mean, in court, you don't even have to name anything. You can just walk out, and, you know, there are kids involved and all of these things. And, so, you know, think about it. So I just want to say, we are in society that emphasizes individualistic happiness is a very important. I deserve to be happy, right? We're in a society where hookups are part of our culture, and we can have as many partners, and monogamy is really just sleeping with one person, you know, in that moment, and not really one person for life. It's really one person and having sex with one person at a time. And we have really dismantled all of these things before, where society was kind of making us to question, it didn't make it easy to surrender relationship or walk away. This is all gone now, at least in the modern society. You know, we now say, you know, divorce is better for, you know, in a bad relationship, you know, kids suffer more in a bad relationship when they're in a divorce. So I don't have that pressure anymore. So what holds the relationship now, right? And why relationships fall apart, right? And I do think the bigger the freedom, the more maturity something is required. So the more intentional we have to be about guarding the relationship, commitment, and I think we more have to practice all the skills that hold the relationship. But infidelity is interesting because it is so frequent.
It is.
It is, I mean, it's amazing how many times it still happens. And when you come back to a happy person, I think the question is, really, should we dismantle now the marriage because of this transgression?
That's what I was about to ask. I was coming to that.
And there's another problem now. Most of the people will now introduce morality here, right? Yeah? What kind of person you are to stay? You can't even have an honest conversation now, right? We moralize get-go. Infidelity is wrong, right? And so you forget there's two parties. Like there's the one that did the infidelity and then the one that actually suffered, right? So there are two parties. But so one is in severe pain, and infidelity is moralized because of this pain inflicted, right?
True.
Because you invited into your safe space intruder. You dismantled everything. You dismantled your identity, that you had attached to this person. You built something together. You were the most vulnerable. You had literally someone completely intruding into your most sensitive parts of your life, right? And now the other person, on the other hand, actually speaks about what they were looking. And they were not looking to hurt you. And if we only act from moral side about rejection of the one that cheated and not giving them space for us to understand, not at the very beginning, don't get me wrong, when the infidelity happened, you don't have a credit to talk, to be honest. The person that cheated don't have much credit to talk. We have to take care of the person that just completely dismantled their reality.
Right.
And they don't know what to trust. They can't trust themselves. They don't know, should they sleep in that house? They don't know where to go. If you live in the same house, where are you going now? Who leaves the house now? Like, where are you going to sleep?
Exactly.
Who is now holding you, right? That was the person that was cheating. That was the person that was holding you when you were the most vulnerable. Now you're literally left. Like, I have no idea what to say. I don't know what to do. You're overwhelmed with pain. You literally lost the ground under your feet. So the first thing I would say is that you have to create a kind of support straight away. So if the person who and the question is, how did you find out? I mean, honestly, there's a big difference with someone coming to you and saying, I can't live. And I have to say, if you're coming to cleanse your guilt by admitting this, I have to question this as well.
Okay.
What is the reason you're coming clean? Or if the person found out through just like we just witnessed with unfortunate concept, you're literally shocked.
Yeah.
Or you found out, or my God, you were just reading the wrong messages and you just realize, what? I mean, it's a totally different ballgame when you find out that someone come in, right? So the first thing, and so there's many scenarios here, honestly, that can happen. But I would say if someone, and go back, the happily married people, I would say you're applying some kind of a stereotype here.
Right.
Okay? Because right now, if you ask me what I continuously do with my husband, not that he enjoys this, okay? In time of peace, I ask him, how do you see the future? What should we do to live that future? Not that I can guarantee it. I can just really agree on the future. I can show him commitment. I can show him that I am not planning to go. This is it. I am intentional about us. I am here. And when I see things not really, kind of things are a little bit shaky, I don't wait for us to have an earthquake.
Right.
I invite him. I feel it. Do you feel it? Am I alone in this? Can I share what I feel? Why am I sharing it? Because I want us together. That was the plan. That's the commitment. There is no other option for me. So it's really inviting this slow conversation. And I use movies, honestly. I sometimes bring different scenarios where they're a little bit in a gray area, like, what would you do?
Right.
And he goes like, it's almost a role play without feeling threatened because we play someone else's reality.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, I think it's people truly want when they cheat to end something, either relationship as it is, either the way they have become in that relationship, and they want some change. And I don't think marriage should immediately be cut because of this. I think there has to be some honest conversation, while obviously helping the victim create sense of agency back by honoring really the feeling that they have. They're really hurt. They're lost. And you really shouldn't be talking about yourself at that moment. Choose the timing right. Because there's a shock, and then there is a curiosity, and then there is the last time is what now, right? So shock, understanding, and what now, right?
Okay. And what's your opinion about, I want to come back to that Coldplay incident and how it was handled. What's your opinion on it?
I was late to the party on this one. People were bombarding me, and then I ended up people sharing things. I said, I don't know, what are you talking about? And they say, you didn't see it? And I said, no, and I'm not going to repeat. I think this whole world knows this. I was a bit surprised that people started entertaining with the human lives. I get it. I really do. We can pull apart, and I think the fact that when we judge others, we kind of become a little bit too righteous here.
Yeah.
And so clearly we kind of claim that we would never, and none of us would, and that those horrible people on the other side. But I just want to remind that there were innocent victims in the whole thing, and that's children, that's the partners who got shocked and exposed to the world. They have no privacy to grieve. They have no privacy to deal with this. We took someone's lives as an entertainment. Not sure what we tried. We wanted what? What was the point of this? I get that these people crossed the line, but how far we went as a using them as entertainment for us, that was surprising to me, honestly. And so I don't agree. I think it was very unfortunate for these two people to be caught the way they got caught.
Right.
I think they were very naive and childish. Honestly, I think these people just didn't expect, this to happen. I think their reaction just shows the shock.
Yeah.
I think we overanalyze this to that. But if I would turn back, I think I'm sad that no one remembered the partners and the kids. Because I have no idea if I was the child of these people walking into school.
Absolutely.
How do this remember the father stays the father, and how will he explain this? How will he now have a relationship with his children?
Absolutely.
No, seriously, how does he? So they can see the pain of the mom or the father. Okay, they have to choose now, because the world clearly chose the bad guys. I can't vote for the bad guy, right? I have to stand part. And the child should not choose between parents. To be honest, that has nothing to do with them. They invited something into their lives they should not have been dealing with, not publicly. And now the kids have to moralize all of this. And I think I'm not sure how they will now repair with their children what has been now happening. And that's the work to be had. Because divorce is one thing. These people will divorce. The world will push them into this, because if these partners stay in the relationship, they will be laughed at. They have no opportunity to actually stay or divorce on their terms. Think about it. If I was that wife of this guy, can I really stay? I will look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I will look like a weak. How could you stay with a guy like this? I was not even left this to be my decision. So, and now my kids are now having a discussion with the world. The world is discussing how we should manage our lives and the parenthood and our marriage. And I thought that was just horrible. And we will say, well, he did it. But it was just in front of public eyes, unfortunately. And I think we just took it to another level. I had absolutely no curiosity about. I actually had very little curiosity about them. I don't know what we have learned from this. Right. But hey, we got likes. we got a lot of likes for a
Yeah.
million posts. So I guess attention economy won. Hooray!
Yeah, I mean, they're using it for publicity now. Like a lot of companies, they're hopping on the trend.
Yes, and I just I have no idea.
And again, I think it comes
I
with that
thought it was
sense of
poor taste in my mind. It was a poor
righteousness
taste.
that, you know, now this is free. This is like it's okay for us to say stuff about them, to cuss them out because they did something that was wrong, and that's where I think the morality.
I keep saying, you know, put yourself, you know, we really think we know what kind of person we would be in every situation,
Yeah.
right? And the hardest thing is to really forgive, right? It's really, really hard. Because we feel we surrender the power, right, when we forgive. But I really try, I don't moralize and I don't jump. I have always tried to understand. And so I try to appeal to myself, right? I look at the world and reality as it is, and I would say, what should I do? What's the right thing? So I didn't like, and to be honest, I didn't follow the trend, and I didn't like any of this, and I didn't vote for this. That's as far as I could go with this. I just wouldn't like this to be something we normalize. I don't think other people's lives and marriages are entertainment, and I think they should have a privacy now to deal with this tragedy as it is. And I think it is a tragedy because they have to rebuild lives, and they're doing it in a public eye. But I always ask myself, am I a saint? Am I that perfect? Do I have a right to judge so openly and express my opinion? And so, you know, so I kind of stay away a little bit. I do find this more watching space rather than joining the tribe.
Right.
And I'm asking myself, you know, what could have been done better? You know,
Absolutely.
What could we do better from now on? And what if this happened to my life? I honestly was like, oh wow, just play that scenario. Just play that scenario.
Right.
So yeah, So my reaction was probably, I was not much entertained with this. Yeah.
Right.
It seems like I was not in the majority.
Well, I think that's very mature of you, and I love how you really dove into that and overall the entire conversation on this podcast. And I think we can wrap up now. So
Thank
once
you.
again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.